Welcome to the Your Business on Purpose podcast, the ultimate resource for women business owners looking to confidently navigate their entrepreneurial journey while upholding their principles. I'm Dawnette Palmore, your host and fellow entrepreneur. Join me as we immerse ourselves in illuminating conversations with accomplished experts spanning various fields across the business spectrum. Together, we'll unearth strategic insights into seizing opportunities and ensuring that your business is equipped with the essential elements aligned with your purpose and values. Welcome back to Your Business on Purpose. Today's conversation is for the woman who loves what she does, but is exhausted by how she's doing it. The woman who builds success through grit, discipline, and responsibility, yet still feels disconnected, overwhelmed, or even stuck in cycles of burnout. And we don't burn out because we're weak. Obviously not, because we do a lot of stuff as women. We burn out because our nervous system has been carrying too much for too long. So today we're going to unpack what it actually looks like to lead your business from regulation instead of reaction, alignment instead of overachievement, and self-trust instead of survival. This is a conversation about emotional regulation, nervous system leadership, boundaries that stick, and building a business that supports your life, not consumes it. So I am so excited to introduce my guest today, Riana Malia. She is a board-certified neurosomatic practitioner and the creator of the Clear to Create method. She works with high-achieving women who look successful on the outside, but internally are feeling burnt out, disconnected, or misaligned in both business and relationships. Her work blends neuroscience, emotional intelligence, and identity reinvention to help women clear the subconscious patterns that drive overachievement, people-pleasing, and chronic burnout. Riana's mission is powerful and simple: to help women lead, love, and live from alignment, creating success that actually feels as good as the inside as it looks on the outside. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here.
So glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So first and foremost, I am a mama. I am a wife to the greatest love of my life of 2 years. We've been married. We've been together 6, which on the other side of all the stuff in my past, I never thought would happen for me. I get to do this work in the world that I actually initially created for myself. I had been through divorce. I had moved to California, brought my daughter, my mother, 2 cats, 2 horses, moved across the country to take over a family business, which felt like an easy button, if you will, even though I kind of knew in my gut that it probably wasn't the best idea. My father was very, very charismatic and brilliant and creates beauty, but also, a narcissist, and that everything is the big thing. So I made a decision. I told Maddie I was only going to disrupt her life once. She was 9, and moved to California from Minnesota. I didn't know a soul here. And only a few months in, I found myself in a situation surrounded by DEA agents, guns drawn, put in handcuffs, and all of a sudden had no business, no income, no assets. And I had to make a decision, right? So I could take us back to Minnesota, or I could keep my promise to my child and break like generations of broken promises and lack of integrity. So that put me in a position of having to figure out, all right, what exactly am I going to do now? And that was kind of that catalyst moment that led me into then what became my life's work.
I love it. That's great. Our experiences and our life experiences are usually what creates our passion and what we end up helping other people with. So that's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's always good to do work with people who've been through what we've been through. So, nobody's ever been through what we've been through, but you know what I mean? So that we can kind of have empathy and sympathize and know what their emotions, all this stuff that they're going to be going through. So that's amazing. Congratulations on finding the love of your life and being together 8 years. That's amazing. So in this, we hear this word burnout a lot. What exactly is burnout?
It's kind of one of those words. It's kind of like trigger, right? It's used everywhere. It's one of those words that sometimes I say, I don't know, for lack of a better word, it triggers you. But it's a little bit like that, in my opinion, where it's used so frequently, and it can mean different things to different people. But most importantly, especially for high achieving women that we do carry so much. And a lot of times we are living from an identity that was maybe, created 10, 20 years ago, when, and identities, that are attached to our career, attached to being a mom, being a wife, or being a wife for so long and then being divorced, or having, the children move away and you're now an empty nester, and you're like, who am I now? And a lot of burnout comes from that dysregulation, the conflict between what you should be doing and that waking up in the middle of the night and thinking that you're alone in that, why does it seem like everybody else has their shit together except for me? Like, I can't believe that I'm in this time of life and I should be farther along, or I should, all of those things that cause the unconscious mind is spinning out all the time. And the role of the unconscious mind is to get resolution. And so when we're constantly in this state of, I have to do more, I have to be more, I need to say yes, but even though I don't want to, because I should, because it's obligatory, our body goes, okay, it's like a GPS. We're giving it all of these crazy directions. It has no idea where to go. But when we get crystal clear and actually figure out what it is that you want between now and dead, and how it's always been, has no bearing on what it can be. Like, this isn't about years of unpacking and, doing, it's like, it's being able to tap into that other side of you, the unconscious mind, where all the magic happens, right? That's the operating system. And more often than not, it's literally about getting rid of all the old operating system that's running the show, mostly since you were a little girl, and being able to reinstall that neurology and behavior and strategy so that you get to live the life that's meant for you, instead of this constant chasing and wishing for it, but never actually getting there.
I love that. Okay, so that's a total different definition than I've ever heard before, but it totally makes sense, because sometimes we think we burn out from something that we love doing, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's because we're not coming to the conclusions and changing our old mindset and subconscious to function in the now instead of the past.
Yeah,
that is
exhausting.
Amazing. It is exhausting. I'm exhausted thinking about it. But what a revelation! Like, that blew my mind. Like, wow, it's just like, it's connecting dots to a lot of things, and we know that our subconscious was developed between ages 0 and 7.
That's right.
And we actually had no say in that. So, but now we have a say. We can't use that excuse anymore. So some of the signs are that we're something's keeping us up at night. You're saying, like, we feel like we're not achieving enough.
Yeah. So just, if anybody is not super familiar with the unconscious and the conscious, I just want to give you a little bit of context. So as you're listening to this conversation, that's not in the back of your mind, like, well, I don't really get it, and then you don't get the magic here. So if we think about our body, everything from the neck up is our conscious mind. It is our goal setter. It's our critical faculties. We use it all day long. It's 10%, which means everything from the neck down, the other 90% is our unconscious or our subconscious. And if the conscious mind is our goal setter, the unconscious is our goal getter. It's that operating system. It's the general, but it's also the literal library of everything you've ever experienced in this life. Everything that's been said to you, everything you've said to someone else, every emotion that you've felt, everything that you've gone through is held at a cellular level. So we think about memory being in the brain, and of course it lives in the circuitry, but we know now, science, that memory is cellular. And so when all of that is stored and it's not released properly, the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of built up weight of that negative emotion of anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame, all of those limiting beliefs and limiting decisions that we made along the way because we decided that if we want to be loved, we should probably be quiet, because when we were 5, somebody said, you're asking too many questions, and that locks in. Or I have to earn love because, somebody else got a better grade, or they did better in sports and they got all this attention. All of those crazy things that happen between 0 and 7. The middle of the night thing comes in often, I think, for a lot of us, because when we think about our thoughts, we think between 65,000 and 85,000 thoughts every day. Ooh. 90% of those thoughts are recycled. So they're the same thoughts that you thought yesterday, the day before, the week before, the month before, and for sure in the middle of the night when you wake up and you're running through either all the things you didn't get done that you should have, or the what ifs, and what if I would have done it this way or not done it this way, and all that rumination. And again, back to our GPS, everything that we focus on is like giving it a direction. And, the women that I work with are brilliant. And so when I talk about the fact that 90% of those recycled thoughts are also negative, I get a lot of pushback because they're like, you know what? I am so good on mindset. I've done all the mindset things. Like, I'm so solid. Like, I'm clear. Like, I don't ever want to be in a relationship again where I am not cherished and loved. I don't ever want to be in a professional situation where I'm minimized. I don't. Well, the problem is the unconscious mind can't hear the qualifying don't. It just knows what you're focused on. So it's why people end up in situations over and over and over again, right? They marry the same person 3 times, or they keep dating the same person in a different body over and over, or every corporation or business entity that they're involved in, there's conflict. And it's not because you can't work your way out of it, right? It's not like you can read another book or learn some, it's nothing that you could do or not do. It's that you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. So we got to tap into that other 90% and get rid of the stuff that's no longer serving you so that you have room for what's actually meant for you.
That's interesting. So you're saying like they're doing conscious work, not subconscious work, which is where the conflict happens.
It's where we get to rewrite the patterns.
Yeah.
Because when we look at life, so we talk like the methodology, right? Just to give you a little background, like the clear to create method. So you can't see this on my wall, but it says clear to create your very best life. So whether, it's been my tagline forever, your very best life part, because whether we've been besties for 20 years or we met 20 minutes ago, I want you to live your version of your very best life. And it's different. Every single one of us has a different situation. Yeah. But you cannot go from being held back by past pain, childhood stuff, a failed marriage, a failed business, disappointment, loss, all the story, to just living your very best life. It doesn't work that way. We have to clear before we can create. So we have to clear the story to create the life. Everybody says, I'm tired. I'm so sick of this. I want a different story. Well, you have to stop telling the old one, first and foremost. And we have to clear the cycles to create the confidence. Because when we're in that space of burnout or transition, and we start to question if we even, can trust our own decision making, because we think, well, I thought I knew, and look how fabulous that turned out. So I don't know. But it's those cycles, right? Everything is cyclical, including the things that show up in our life. So we had to clear those cycles to create that confidence where you get to anchor into fully being able to trust yourself again. And we have to clear the patterns to create the partnerships. We want amazing, aligned, deep, genuine partnerships, romantically, professionally, personally, with our children, with our friendships. But when we bring all of those old patterns, all that unconscious, subconscious stuff, we don't get those partnerships. We get more of the same, which is 99.9% of the time what we don't want.
Right.
And we have to clear the resentment to get the results. And there's a reason that so many high achieving women specifically almost get what we want, but we never quite get there. And so in being able to just high level look at that and say, okay, we have to clear before we can create. But before we clear anything, we have to get crystal clear. And I think this is a big piece of it too, especially at this stage in life and all the different things that are changing. You ask the question of, okay, well, aside from all the titles, mom, business owner, wife, CEO, whatever it is, away from all of that, what do you want? Who are you now? And oftentimes that will bring some emotion because you've spent so many years putting everybody else's needs first, or, putting the career first, or whatever it is. And not having that crystal clear, specific clarity about what it is that you actually do want. It's just like going into a restaurant and sitting down, and the server comes over and says, what can I bring you for lunch? And we say, well, we're going to start with a salad, and we'll have something to drink. And, makes us something great with some protein and some veggies. Fine. Okay, great. They bring us back a Caesar salad and some iced tea and, a lovely piece of roasted chicken and some glazed carrots. And we got exactly what we ordered. What we wanted was a glass of champagne and an arugula salad with goat cheese and figs and a beautiful piece of halibut and some roasted asparagus. So the difference between the life that you want and the life that you get also comes down to having that level of clarity that most people don't have.
Wow. And I feel like also we think we want something, but it's like what society has told us we wanted or we should want.
Yeah.
And then that's what we
All
run
the
with, and we
shoulds.
end up unhappy. So then this brings me to the next thing that comes to my mind. As women, we're told all those things are selfish. We should always put people before us. Tell us how actually doing that is a disservice to everybody.
It's just like the airplane thing, put your oxygen mask on first before you help anybody else. You can't pour from an empty cup, right? So this stigma of like taking time or investing in yourself or like, making actually scheduling time this for you, that that whole feeling of guilt and selfishness, and I shouldn't do that, and I should be doing these other things. It's actually crazy, because if you don't take care of you and feed you and nurture you, you're not good to anybody else. You're certainly not a good mama, not a good partner, not a good wife, not a good CEO, not a good business, whatever it is. Like when we push all of that aside, and again, we look at the resentment with that, right? Like there's, whether you're aware of it consciously or not, there is resentment. And a really good way to look at when you are feeling like you're resisting something, my question is always, what are you resenting? Because that's the actual truth. Because the resistance is surface level, but underneath it, you're resenting something. Even if it's just a simple fact that you have to do this thing, right? But inside of that, kind of letting go of the story, letting go of all of that old, again, the programming, the neurology, the story that you've been told and that you've held onto, and then that becomes your identity. And it's really understanding, like as an identity architect, as part of what I do, is the identity that got you here. She did an amazing job. Like we're so grateful for her. And we love her, and she survived a lot, and she created a lot, and she did a lot of amazing things. But she's kind of gotten you as far as you can go with all of those old stories. And so especially like now in this new year, and this is, who knows when you'll be listening to this, but in 2026, it's the year of the horse, the fire horse. And it's about, we got rid of all that stuff last year and shed all of the nonsense. And this year is about like, I envision like a big Frisian horse on a beach, but like bold, elegant, forward-moving, decisive, clear action. And being able to own that and say, you know what, all of that was that old identity. And so I like to have a vision for you, if I can, of like you're standing at a bridge, and make the bridge beautiful however you want the bridge. And like you're standing, and right behind you is that current identity. And on the other side of that bridge is your next level. The you that gets to fully be you and fall in love with yourself and trust yourself and confidently hold boundaries and expertly communicate your needs and deepen the richness in every single one of your relationships and have the life and the love that's meant for you. But we got to say goodbye to this lovely current identity and take those steps across that bridge. So it's okay to put it down. And it doesn't mean that you have to do a bunch of hard emotional work, and it doesn't have to take months. Literally, it can take minutes. And you get to choose, and you get to choose differently. And even if you felt up until this very moment that you didn't need that, and that's okay, and all of a sudden there's something like hitting you in the gut and the heart, like you get to choose. And very much like, I don't know about you, but my closet, my pantry, you throw stuff in. Like, a few weeks ago, I took everything out of my pantry, and I was just like, this is insane. Put it all over in the kitchen, and I cleaned it out, and I threw away like all the expired whatever, soup and the half open boxes of orzo, and then I put it all back, and it was so organized. It made me feel like Christmas. But it's the same internally. You have to throw out all of that expired thinking and story and pattern and neurology so that you have space to be who you're meant to be, who you're becoming, to have the experiences and the people and the resources and the opportunities. You have to have room for that. And you can't if you have all this old expired stuff running the show.
Yeah, that's true. We keep trying to put more and more, but it's falling off the shelf. Right?
Exactly.
There's nowhere to put it.
And then the good stuff falls off the shelf and the bottle breaks, and then you're left with, old dried out pasta.
And also, even more defeated than we were when we began, because now we're like, is that ever going to be for me? Can I really achieve that? I keep hearing I can, but I don't see it. And there is the solution: to let go, take the expired stuff off the shelf, clean it out. The Oreo cookies, whatever it is in there that's not good for you anymore. take it out, clean the shelf off, and put only what is there to serve you going forward. That's going to feed not just your body, but your soul and your subconscious, which is going to feed your conscious. And now they're going to work in tandem instead of against each other.
Exactly.
That is so amazing. So what is one way that we can do that? Because we're thinking, okay, goodbye, I'm going. But it doesn't feel like that's what happens all the time, right? So what is one thing we can put down, or how can we take that first step to cross that bridge?
All right. So I'm going to give you something that I do with my private clients, and everybody can do this. And if you play along, in 72 hours, your life is going to be different. We're going to flip that. So I talk about being a magnet for miracles. And making values-driven decisions. So my values as a person and for my business are love, impact, generosity, the belief in what's possible, and being a magnet. And when we talked about the people that end up in the same situations and the relationships, and they never get the promotion, and there's never a parking spot when it's raining, and their haircut is always terrible, like all of that will perpetually continue for the rest of your life. But I can also tell you exactly what to do to flip the switch. So let's play a game. So we're gonna wherever you are, unless you're driving, obviously, I want you to find 2 pieces of clean paper, and on the top of one, you're gonna write the word away, and on the top of the other, you're gonna write the word toward. Now you're gonna imagine that you're in a room with 4 walls, one to your left, one to your right, one in front of you, one behind you. One of those walls is going to be your away wall, and on that list, I want you to write down everything you don't want. Everything you don't want ever, again, more of, all of it, from all areas of your life. And then on the other one, your toward wall, I want you to write everything you do want. No filter, no, I'm too old for that. No, I don't have the resources. Like goals, wishes, dreams, desires, magic wand, fairy dust, everything you want. And then I want you to, whatever way works for you, take a picture of those 2 lists, pin it in your notes app, whatever it is, so you have access to them, okay? And then it's a very scientific process. I need you to get a rubber band, just a rubber band. But it cannot be like a soft, scrunchy one that we put in our hair at night. Like it has to be like the ones that sting, right? Because we need the pattern interrupt. And earlier we talked about those 65,000 to 85,000 thoughts. And we talked about so many of them being negative. And what happens is, because we've lived this way for decades, we don't even notice it, that most of the time as we're thinking about things that we don't want. So what this does is this is going to give you some visibility and some awareness. And it's not about that you're going to do this and then never have these thoughts again. Or, we're not giving you a lobotomy. The point here is to pull you out of it and learn how to recognize it, because you only have to hold a thought with emotion for 17 seconds for it to create new neural pathways or reinforce the current one. So put your rubber band on, you make your lists. As you go through life the next 3 days, I want you to notice when you feel either you're feeling anxious, you're definitely coming from a place of fear, you're kind of spiraling. And the first day, you actually might not notice it much at all. You might not be snapping the rubber band because you're so used to operating that way. But at some point, you're going to go, oh, maybe it's like the pit in your stomach, or you're feeling a little, anxious in your chest. I want you to snap it, get the pattern interrupt, and I want you to try to recall the last thing you were thinking of. And I promise you it was something on that away wall. And then what I want you to do is I want you to replace it. And you can do that a few ways. You can either pick something on the toward wall or the opposite of the thing you were thinking about, whatever, and really be with that as though it is, right? What do you see? What do you hear? How does it make you feel? Because again, we're going to reinforce, we're going to create new neurology around that. You can just take a minute and get really, really clear about something you're really grateful for right now, but not the Pollyanna, I'm so grateful for my life. No, it's been raining for 6 days and I'm so freaking grateful that the sun is out, I could cry, right? Something real in this moment. And if you're still feeling that yuck, even if you can't put a name to it, I want you to ask yourself, what can I do? Who could I serve in this moment? And it doesn't have to be this big, grandiose thing. It could literally be a thought, a prayer, a text to a girlfriend. It could be, your neighbor's plants fell over and they've been down like that for a week and you literally go pick them up. Get out of your head in service of someone else. What you will notice as the days go on, you're snapping more and you're noticing it faster and you're pulling yourself out of it. And all of a sudden in the physical world, you're going to start to see things shifting and reorganized. It's like if you made a cake, right? And the cake tasted terrible. Like, what do you have to do to make a better cake? You have to look at the ingredients, right? So
Yeah.
the cake is the last thing to come out of the oven, right? That's our current world. So anything that's not working in the way that it could or should, we got to figure out what are the ingredients. Well, the ingredients are the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual, which starts all of it with those thoughts and what we're focused. So if you do that all out for 72 hours, and that's not an arbitrary number, right? That's neuroscience. Like, we can actually start to rewire what you focus on, which is going to change all of it. So that's my Magnet for Miracles exercise for you.
That's amazing. And that's something simple to do, right? It's
So
something doable. And awareness is always the key to change, because we can't change what we're not aware of. So I love that. This was an amazing conversation. What these epiphanies I got of, simple things that we're just not aware of, simple changes we can make to change our lives. This isn't a hard thing where we have to, what is that, go hard 90 or whatever they call it? Where you're basically
hard. No, thank you.
75 hard. Okay.
I don't
killing
like hard
yourself. You're killing yourself to achieve this, just to show that you could do hard things. But this is a hard thing, and you can do this. It's very doable. But it's easy to do. So that's what I love. So if somebody's saying, okay, I am like, this is me. She spoke to me. I'm burnt out. I realize these things are going through my head. How can they find you? Where can they find you?
Absolutely. The website, RianaMalia.com, all the socials, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, at Riana Malia. But I also want to leave your listeners with a gift.
Absolutely.
And an invitation. So I created a diagnostic that we lovingly call the ELLI, and it's the Extraordinary Love Index. And it answers the question, what is actually standing between you and extraordinary love? That can be romantic love, but it's also self-love. It's also like getting really clear. So this is not like a Disney princess quiz. This is a diagnostic that's 40 questions. So I just invite you to give yourself 10 minutes where you have no distractions. I really want you to answer these questions thoughtfully, because what's going to happen is we're going to look at 9 key areas: attachment, and communication, and processing, and trauma, and your processing, all of the things. And I'm going to send you a 28-page personalized report that's going to give you insight about you in a way that you've never had it. And it's going to look at all of those areas, and it's going to show you all right, based on your score, this is what you might be experiencing in your life right now. This is what might be showing up. And here's the cost of you staying here. And here's something that you can start doing right now to move yourself. So go take the ELLI, everyone. I actually review every single result. The data is fascinating. And then come tell me, what was the aha for you? I can't wait to hear. And yes, come find me on the socials, connect, send me a message, let me know how I can support you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for that. And all of this information will be in the show notes, so you don't have to pull over and jot things down or figure out how things are spelled while you're driving or whatever you're doing. They're going to be in the show notes. Go there, click it on whatever app you're listening to. And if today's conversation resonated with you, we want to know. Leave a comment, like it, share it, so that somebody else can get the same breakthrough that you get. Let's help each other. That's what this whole podcast is all about. Helping each other, empowering women, giving them these tips, these tools to not just move their business forward, but also to move their lives forward, to move so much more forward, because we can stay stuck so easily. And when we lead from alignment instead of overachievement, everything is going to change. How we show up, how we make decisions, how our business supports our life, how we just do everything in our lives. And we are so grateful that you're here. I am so thankful. Thank you again. And remember, you don't have to build your business at the expense of you. This podcast is dedicated to you and all the incredible women out there breaking chains, pushing through, and striving to make it all work. Your support truly means the world to me. Could you do me a favor? Be a gem and leave a review. It will help us reach even more women, making a bigger impact. Your feedback is invaluable, and I would genuinely appreciate it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, ensuring you never miss an episode. Until next week, live a purposeful life in both your business and your finances.